Bottom right-hand side to start off another best of 5 from the King of Battles $30,000 event group stages. This is an elimination match between the blue Terran player HeroMarine and the top left red Zerg player Rogue. A little bit of cross-server action. HeroMarine and Rogue, some TvZ. That's potentially a fun one. So this is the elimination match. These two lost out in their initial matches. I believe it was... I didn't cast them. I think it was Rogue Showtime. And Rogue lost out, and I think that included like a super long first game. And then also HeroMarine, I think, lost out to Zaun. So, yeah, a Rogue HeroMarine elimination match. Best of 5 to see who's eliminated from the tournament. You know, winner, of course, goes through to the next round of, next step of the group. But for the purposes of this video, obviously, we're just casting this best of 5. If you're watching this on the YouTube channel, hello, how are you doing? Thank you so much for watching and tuning in today. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Turn your little notification bell on as well to make sure you see when we get all of these juicy, amazing uploads available for you guys every single day here on WardiTV. And of course, if you end up liking this video, then leave a like on the video as well. As you do see, our Overlord is making its way down to the bottom right. So a very standard early game, not much to say for the first minute and a half. Interested to see how these two styles match up, because stylistically to me, Rogue is a very aggressive player. HeroMarine is that really kind of core, standard macro player, right? You know, HeroMarine, he mixes it up, but at the baseline of his play, I think he plays very standard. He plays very smart to the meta, but it's always to the meta. Like, to me, HeroMarine isn't like a meta breaker or a meta changer. He knows what works well, and he plays around it a little bit. But standard is the word that comes to mind when I think HeroMarine. Standard, consistent, mechanically strong. I think Rogue, and especially in an online event, I think inconsistent, right? I think crazy, wild. He can bring out a bit of anything in a series like this, especially in the best of 5. You know, it isn't unlike Rogue to kind of maybe play a normal first game, then test the waters game too. You know, how are you doing? You know, what are you up to? Can I win with this? Can I win with that? And if he finds a way to win, he will just do it again and again. You know, he will not shy away from those kind of cheap wins if your opponent can't stop those cheap wins from happening. So those are the that's kind of my pre-game for Rogue HeroMarine. I think it should be a fun little matchup though. Best of 5 as well. I do like best of 5s because it does give that kind of development time over the series too. I think that's always very important. One thing I gotta say is I say Rogue's inconsistent online, but I do feel more recently he's been a little bit better online. Like, I feel like he started to be a little bit more, I guess consistent is then the word, right? But he feels like a little bit more like himself when he plays online events lately. A lot of the time it's like, ooh, which Rogue is going to show up? And then the answer to that more recently has been like, maybe not quite championship, I'm going to win Katowice Rogue, but definitely I'm a very good, strong player Rogue, not a, has Rogue played StarCraft in the last 3 weeks Rogue, which has definitely been a Rogue we've seen in online events in days gone by. I say days gone by, weeks, years gone by. That's definitely been a thing. We've had some WardiTV events where I'm less hyped about like a Rogue matchup than I am a freaking first round qualifying match between two Diamond League players, because Rogue just shows up and he's like, oh, Zerglings, what are they? And then he just dies at something stupid. Anyway, Stim on the way early from HeroMarine talk quickly about his build. It's 3cc, so we've seen this a lot lately. This 3cc off the one gas, very, very popular. Stimpak's already on the way in from HeroMarine as well. A second barracks behind this too. So 3cc second racks will give him a good amount of Marines early game and can absolutely lead into a starport. This can be like a Suedo 2-1-1 where you have the 2 racks, 1 factory, 1 starport. You get a good Marine can out after a few Hellions. And you've got that 3cc to fall back on, so it's not as quick, it's not as aggressive, but it gives you the benefits of the 2-1-1 in the terms of you're getting on the map early, you're going to create some map control, you're going to deny some group spread. I imagine that's exactly the plan. Starport is down, factory builds a reactor next to it. So yeah, it gives you that 60 Marines on the map with the added safety of 4 Hellions while being greedy for the 3cc, and then it will come down to creep denial, and that should be HeroMarine's game plan for some of the early minutes of this game on Death Aura. Because creep is so important to get rid of, especially on a map like this, because if you let creep go here, gets out over here, starts reaching out there, the Zerg gets access to so many bases, the Zerg can go so many different ways. You then really are very kind of one-dimensional in your own attacks, because say you start to push the creep back here, well then Rogue's going to be like, well, every attack you're going to make is going to come right up this avenue. It's very hard to then catch the Zerg player off guard, right? So we'll see what HeroMarine can do against the creep. It's going to be a fast spire actually from Rogue, so He goes last, straight to Spire, now the Baneling Nest, and we are seeing less of this nowadays as well. It's something that was popular for a long time, especially when BC builds were extremely popular. I don't think it's necessarily a bad build, but you know, it's still good, it's still viable, and it's good against everything, otherwise it wouldn't have become such a staple answer or staple opening for a while. So yeah, it's good. It's just a little bit off from what we've been seeing more recently, but that's fine. Like I say, it still works out. You're going to get those mutas out. You can start to control the game a little bit, make some progress with that, and then kind of see where you're going to go from there. So yeah, get that going. Combat shield is on the way up here from HeroMarines. Again, that combat shield underway. Another depot comes down to that right-hand side. A few mules already mining up on this third base as well. Just going to see how Ling's going to get through with the Queen. We'll take down a Reaper up on the top side. And now we have these other Hellions showing up to pick off a Zergling already. Zergling does go down. The other Ling moves down the right side here and gets caught by a few of these Marines pretty quickly. Mutalisks on the way up. Just going to see that Baneling speed about halfway done, plus one flyer attack. Is on the way in on the Spire. And again, these few Hellions is going to make their way from HeroMarine up through to the top left side. So keep in control of this. Now, obviously, we've got the first mutas on the map, so map control is not going to be a big thing. HeroMarine actually never really went out with these Marines and Medevacs, just now starting to make a move forward. We'll see what he does. It's going to be a weird timing, right? Because at the same time, the mutas come down the right-hand side. They're going to make their way maybe through a couple of these mineral lines. And perhaps cause some problems along the way over here. Definitely a possibility is. A little bit of damage is done, and SCV gets picked up. A few more SCVs being picked away at. Pushing forward, a few of these creep tumors going down still, as we do have the army of HeroMarine backing away. So, okay. I think that's a bit of creep. I mean, these mutas are still a bit of a problem, though, and they also don't do much, right? Like, I mean, a few SCV kills, it could be a lot worse. But for what the players have opened up with, it's going to turn into a pretty unimpressive first couple of minutes of action, actually, because there's really not much else going on. You know, these mutas don't really heavily commit through in the end. The Marines obviously never really committed through in the end. So, yeah, just a lot of poking around, a lot of posturing and kind of testing the waters, but neither player really pulling the trigger on any real kind of committed attack. 7 Lings, 3 SCVs, and a Reaper. 11 units dead in the game at this 8-minute marker. Means that this push of HeroMarine has everything in it, and it does come with 1-1 before the 1-1 of Rogue is done. So kind of important now perhaps for Rogue to actually come in here and create some serious concern for HeroMarine back on this side of the map. Otherwise, you might be seeing a HeroMarine that's just going to kind of overwhelm over here. If he can just fully focus going into this base and really take a good fight, already gets a couple of mutas to start. The mutas over here picked off a missile turret, and you do have to go and deal with that. Hellbat's tank the first few Baneling shots. The tanks are quite far back. It's my only problem. I'd like the tanks to be like here and here. Because right now these tanks feel like they're barely going to get into the fight for the first wave of Marines. And you see the Banes crashing into this. Those Marines left over though. So here Marine, he did bring one tank forward as well. And he's still picking off some of the newer Mutalisks. Over here the mutas are having a disaster. Walking into Widow Mines. Not really finding too much. Going to lift up, let the tanks clean up some more Banes. He can drop back down, or does he want to? I actually think he could have dropped back down there. There wasn't actually that much in play. I think he could have dropped back down and maybe continued to fight. Maybe he would have lost a little bit too much, and he really just wants to make sure he's got the best reinforcements possible as he starts up into 2-2. Well, both players taking losses. What's funny is that neither player really loses many more workers. The mutas over here definitely had a bit of a rough time. I think overall it looked good for HeroMarine, right? These fights have been good. Rogue's economy is going to keep him afloat for the moment, but you keep fighting like that as HeroMarine, and you get a fourth base up behind it. It's definitely Rogue that maybe needs to get more done. Hatchery's very low. Obviously, that's a big target. You get rid of this, you put kind of Rogue into that top right base that doesn't have as much creep in front of it. Marines need to get out of there. He actually just targeted down the hatchery, and now he's going to leave. And you will get to the other side of these rocks before you unload, so he's not going to be hit by ground army. It's only the mutas that can chase, and obviously that's the ideal. If you're just fighting with the mutas against Marines, it's unlikely to really go super well for you. Alright, well, I like this hatchery snipe. Obviously, Rogue rotates up over here, but gases won't set up there, for example, so that's one thing that's already bad for him. He's still long-distance mining with a bunch of drones here. He's actually on 92 drones almost at 10 minutes in, still wanting to be on 5 bases, so it's such a pretty good catch as Banes come down on the creep, and oh, they're pretty quick. There's not a lot of Marines left over. I think the mutas can probably push on through these, especially with Reinforced and Ling showing up as well. HeroMarine's going to show back up on the left side, though. Can he get rid of these Banelings? He's not looking at the drop. He's hardcore committing to the hatchery. And now the mutas are going to come in to try and catch. He might get away and maybe able to trade out for a Mutalisk instead of nothing at all. But oh, the Marines are super low as they drop out, so they kind of just get killed as they drop. At the same time, though, HeroMarine takes the chance to get to the right-hand side of the map, so he's going to deny a base over here. Going from left to right, keeping the attention in different places, making it difficult for Rogue. And keeping Rogue's attention on his side of the map, at the very least, means that Rogue can't counterattack to kill HeroMarine's base in the 6 o'clock. As we pull back down the bottom, we're going to see another command center coming through. The Mutalisks are still up overhead, ahead of this, above this Widow Mine. More bio over to the left-hand side here, going to stim over. The mutas are going to show up, and Marine's going to get here right away. Jumps on these mutas, and they take some damage. Station pit builds up in the upper left-hand side, and medevac loads and goes to the top right. It's going to be seen at bio, kind of moving around a little bit. Do you have these Marines getting forward and picking up a few extra creep tumors? So a bit of creep spread being denied. Marines are going to get through. Banes. Not going to go down to any big set of Widow Mine shots. Marine going to drop the top right again. He's been really good at going one way then the other. And I like this. This Widow Mine burrows up, almost like the drones will stack perhaps to get away, but actually pull left through the Marines rather than right through the Widow Mine. So not too much gain there in the end as HeroMarine will move forward again. Bio Army going to get in on top of this hatchery, so going to be able to take this down pretty much straight away. So that hatchery will fall. Then HeroMarine will continue up to the top as even more bio comes along. Lings, mutas, they're going to go darting through. Ooh, there's a lot of SCVs. They're going to be in some trouble. A lot of SCVs that have to pull away right now. Bio over here. A lot of these Banes being picked away at. And the Lings and mutas picking away at those couple of Widow Mines. The rest of this bio continuing to go down, and just going to be seeing the rest of our Banes continue to roll on through. Widow Mine shot onto the Banes as well. HeroMarine actually still didn't lose a lot of SCVs, but he's going to lose a command center. He has replacements. He's going to kill a hatchery at the same time, so he's going to keep this to be kind of full base on full bases. He has the bottom left soon. This base, I guess, is up as well, so it's kind of still 5. I mean, 5 versus 4 is fine as well, though. This is the bigger problem if these mutas are not handled at all. Right now, HeroMarine heavily supply blocked, and that might be the biggest issue of all. You know, production completely halted. There's another couple depots go down. He's heavily supply blocked here. Now some Lings dot into the bottom side of the map as well. Some SCVs will pull away from that. The mutas do find those Widow Mines. He takes one shot, but of course, that's just one dead muta, and the rest of it is splash that you can very much so handle if there's no other follow-up, and there really was not here, so yeah, Rogue's mutas are getting a little bit out of hand. And this is the issue now, that HeroMarine's trying to defend over here to get a base, which he still hasn't gotten, by the way, not properly. He's long distancing. And the mutas are starting to pick away at production, so there's genuinely still a threat on this right-hand side. Without that production, you obviously can't rebuild, remax, and go again and again. Station Pit and Hive is up. We've not seen anything out of that just yet, though, from Rogue. No upgrades, no Ultralis Cavern, nothing. So, no progress there, as he is still spending a lot on rebuilding, maybe getting ready for this attack. Well, counterattack going to move in, and because this base took so long to land, I mean, it's still out of position. It's not planetary, so the SCVs have nowhere to run to for the moment. They're going to get caught, and so a lot of them going down. Mutas are back into the main. Now these Lings are starting to get shut down, but, you know, again, it brings HeroMarine back home. It brings HeroMarine's attention away from the other side of the map. It's exactly what HeroMarine was doing early, but reversed. Rogue is now keeping HeroMarine at home, meaning his bases get up with less issues. He's getting himself time to set up. And these mutas are just going to stay over here. I feel like Rogue doesn't think he needs them for a bigger fight. Maybe against this he does. There's a couple of Thors here that could get some good shots off, but one of them's super low HP, so you get on top of that, and it's going to insta-die. Not a lot of creep here, so at least HeroMarine can kite off of creep and make something work out as the rest of the middles are going to dive in. A barracks will go down. Bane's going to keep rolling forward. A lot of these Marines being picked away at. A couple of Thors still firing up a storm. A lot of these Lings being taken down. And the mid is going to escape up the right-hand side once again. And Overseer going down too. And this Bioforce continuing up the right. Banes are going to continue forward. The Marines going down. The Thors are, well, picked off as well as everything else being cleaned out. The HeroMarine is going to go scarpering away out down to the south. And the Ultima's captain from Rogue about to finish up on the main. Marines and Marauder are going to get into the base over here. They're going to get surrounded by Zerglings. But they're going to win the fight. 3-3 is pretty darn good, huh? So he kind of wins out in this fight. I mean, that's nice. But now the medevac's go down. He does clean out this base again. HeroMarine's done a great effort to keep this 4 bases versus 5. You know, Rogue's never overly gotten ridiculously set up on the map or anything. Rogue has mined a lot more throughout this, so it has been important for HeroMarine to also take good fights, which he has also done. But now you're starting to lose this bottom left base, and well, some Marines are on the way over, so I guess the SCVs won't be stopped from mining for all too long. Here's back up the set. It's back up the left. Now we're going to see that Hive Tech finally coming into play. You see all those upgrades coming through off the Hive, and the first couple of Ultras coming in as well. Missing adrenal glands. So missing adrenal, but otherwise everything else coming through. HeroMarine right now maybe has his best shot. Just before 3-3 is done. Now, Carapace is done. But I guess you can still argue before the Ultras are out. But now they're coming out. Kindness is going to be done. Mutas are counterattacking on the right side yet again, and Rogue keeps up the pressure. Mutas escape, and we'll get into the main instead. So these Banes get targeted down, the Mutalists come through, Factory gets shot down, this Orbital Command is going to fall very soon as well. And the pressure continues as the Bio still trying to keep pushing up. And the backs overhead, the Thor in the front, Marines getting some pickoffs there. Other Banelings coming in from the left-hand side, and over here, a couple of Widow Mines going off, and that's a few SCV kills. Bane's blowing up a whole bunch, and HeroMarine eventually just runs out of stuff. At the end of this, you really do just run out of stuff, right? I mean, you're not really winning out over here anymore. Your economy is truly taking hit after hit. You can see, obviously, the supplies tell the tale for us. And HeroMarine obviously feels that too. He also just doesn't have anything to fight Ultras. Is the other big part of this, right? You know, his army is Marine, 1 Marauder, and some Widow Mines. It's not really an Ultralisk fighting army, so GG's. Rogue actually wins a pretty fun game number 1, where HeroMarine kept himself alive for a long time. Just wasn't enough in the end. Second map will start to the bottom right-hand side. Our blue Terran player, just not really maybe getting the tech up he needed while his opponent got up to those Ultras and all the rest. This is HeroMarine. Pulled apart a little bit, I think it's fair to say, right? Those mutas were a consistent issue all game long. As that in top left would be our player who's up 1-0. It's Rogue, and he was really good with the mutas. They were just active all the way throughout. Entry drops down. Gas racks opener here. Oh, racks gas opener. So, not gas first. It was actually kind of important the way you say those, so my apologies. It's just racks into gas. And yeah, I wonder what HeroMarine does this time around. He played a big 3cc opener. Actually had a bit of a shorter map. Maybe a map Rogue could get aggressive on, bring some roaches out on. Maybe test the waters of what aggression can do. Maybe a chance for HeroMarine to get some earlier game pushes. I wouldn't mind HeroMarine switching this into like a double gas opener. You know, instead of the 3cc of 1 gas, go double gas, a bit more harassment focused early. See what that maybe gives him in the early game. Change it up a little bit, because obviously we saw now already that a Rogue left alone was, you know, not unbeatable, but put him in a position where he was able to kind of draw the game into his own favor, right? Obviously, a lot of it may come down to how HeroMarine / Rogue even want to play this map later into the game, right? If neither of them really like it late game for whatever reason, that could obviously influence a more aggressive setup from either side. Reaper heads up to the top left-hand side. Going to the top as we're just going to be seeing our factory building in the main base, and Reaper is going to be showing up into the natural in just a couple moments to try and be a little bit aggressive here. We're going to get a bit of damage out. And the game dance begins. As the Lings chasing that Reaper down. It's going to be 3cc again, so never mind me saying I'd like to see a double gas. HeroMarine's happy with what the 3cc did for him, so he'll do the same again, of course. Doesn't have to be the same forever. Still room to switch this up a little bit on the follow-up if you would like to. He is not hard committed to a to just playing like the exact same way he did before, right? Like, he can still switch this up. He can still play this differently. That is completely plausible here, so follow this Reaper. Let's see what these drones want to get up to as well. There's plenty of workers right now. It doesn't look like Rogue has any kind of out of the ordinary plans for himself. So up onto the tech lab. Obviously, I think it's always nice to set up a bit of Banshee play. Even if this is just the one cloakless Banshee, keeps you very safe. And I really mean like very safe, right? This is going to put you in a position where you have absolutely no concerns. I don't think you have to worry about anything. It really gives you like that defense against roaches. And that's actually going to be a 4-minute roach run. So potential for this to get a little bit aggro, huh? I mean, it's not going to be off like a low drone count. Maybe something around like a... what could be cool here? Maybe we saw something like a roach timing of like 3 bases. That could be pretty cool. Like max up a little bit so it's away from a lot of the normal stuff that you see. I think that could be really cool actually. Maybe we see something like that as we'll see where it goes. We're actually doing the NC cloak, by the way, so these Banshees are going to be truly committed to from HeroMarine. So he's really going to go and try to get something out of this. Aliens and Reaper poking up the left side. Back along the bottom. There's our Banshee moving through the center, heading up to the top left. So the first one, second one is just leaving the base right now. Smoke rollers are up. I'm really intrigued to see where these roaches go. I mean, we see a lair and an Evo chamber now. Maybe the roach one was just kind of a safety thing. Just felt like maybe you need it, and now he's realizing he doesn't. He's like, okay, cool, I'm just going to go. No, he is going to go. Okay, never mind me. He's going to go roach upgrades. So maybe this is just like a 1-1 roach timing of 66 drones. That was kind of what I was leaning to earlier, but then I was like, well, you know, the lair and stuff isn't really there for it just yet, but it's just going to hit at like 7 minutes. So, yeah, I guess that's one way of doing this. Okay. Helene's back into the center again. Some creep. Here come the Banshees coming around the top. Gonna come through. A couple of drones taking some hits right away. A couple of drones go down. Hellions will join up in the center. Still just waiting for any Lings to kind of run by here. What information do you get as here when you see the lair? You've seen the roach roaring earlier, so you've got to be somewhat aware. The Banshee's actually really important to keep alive, because if this is just like a 1-1 roach timing, Banshees defensively will do so much for you still. If you can just put the Banshees above that roach, I mean, they're just going to deal constant damage unless you let them get hit by like a corrosive bile or so. So definitely something to watch out for there is you do see these Hellions going to try and dive into this mineral line. sees how many roaches there are. Only gets 4 drones, but he also gets to see the roach count. So I think HeroMarine just has a really good read. He's going to drop bunkers down. He's going to have tanks set up against this. Yeah, the only thing is there are, of course, 2 different entries to worry about. So completely agree with the idea of setting up a bunker on this right side as well, because that just gives you that little bit of extra coverage to really make sure you're going to stay safe. Here we go, Roach Ravager. He's bringing the queens. Rogue realizes that the Banshees are a good threat of their own as shows up. Overseer here too. So the Banshees can still be useful, right? They still just sit back a little bit. Kind of see where this Roach Ravager army's coming from. He's going to add another bunker down. I don't think Rogue wins this, man. He's going to hit just before 1-1 of the Terran player, but even still, is it enough? A couple of siege tanks still setting up. The Marines actually move commanding a little bit there. The Banshees are doing a good job fighting in the background. They're actually just targeting queens, but that's okay. Is this enough from HeroMarine? It isn't. Wow. Wow! Rogue just demolishes this. I'll put my hands up in the air and say I'm wrong. I thought HeroMarine had enough to defend that, honestly. 3 bunkers, couple tanks, but the Marine move command is probably a pretty big deal, because by move commanding those Marines, let's just take a very quick look at that. By move commanding the Marines, you lose a lot of initial damage output. I mean, every bit of damage output is very important here, right? So, what goes super wrong? He gets here just before the 3rd tank is sieged up. It's these Marines. They fire in a choke point, so they're not all firing. Then he runs forward, fires, runs all the way to the side this way, and fires again. I'm not saying that would have changed the game necessarily, but it's a lot of damage you're missing out on. The SCV's never gone to the front lines. Usually you do pull SCVs against this as well. And of course, the timing is impeccable. Just before 1-1 is done, gives you that advantage on the Roach Ravager count as well. Now, it was just everything lined up well for Rogue, right? It hit at the right time. Yeah. Nicely timed, honestly. Like I looked at this, the defense looks good, but it's the missing parts of it. The move command in the Marines, the missing upgrades, the SCVs maybe not in the front in time. Those are the things that will change how this looks. And absolutely did here in this case. Absolutely did. GG's. Rogue goes up 2-0. Down 0-2. Our blue Terran player is HeroMarine. And specify to try and keep his tournament life alive here on Oxide. We have got in the bottom left our red Zerg player from Janair Green Wings. This is Rogue. Set ourselves up for Game 3. I like it from Rogue. Switches it up a little bit, goes for one style, tries a different style. Definitely a good way to go about things. I like it in a best of 5. I like it as well, like, you know, very macro focused game 1. Not super all in game 2, but definitely like timing focused, aggressive. You know, is the kind of word that comes to mind when you look at that. You just see the hatchery first dropping down here on Oxide. So let's see what HeroMarine comes out with here to try and make this one work out. Because it's definitely, you know, HeroMarine that needs to find some answers. Rogue, everything he's doing is kind of working out. I like that first game. I think you move away from the 3cc. Like I feel like it's time to put some pressure on Rogue. If you go 3cc again, you let Rogue determine what's going to happen this game. No, I don't think that works out too well. So do you have our orbital morphing in on the main base? The SCV comes down to the low ground here. Reaper's on the way out from HeroMarine, and yeah, hatch, gas pool. We'll watch for this Reaper coming across. Watch for this factory in second gas maybe, and whether he's going to take it or not. Again, for me, that might be the most interesting part of this as it stands. Guess we'll find out in the next few moments what exactly happens. Reaper moves down, going to head across the map. So heading across there. A couple queens, a few Zerglings on the way. We do have the SCV of HeroMarine continuing up to the top as well. Here's our Reaper. There's our second gas. I'm so happy to see it. Honestly, it's I think it's the change-up we need. I feel like we see another 3cc build, and I'm just going to be kind of like, oh, come on, you know, like, it needs to be something different. Take the initiative in your own hands a little bit, HeroMarine. HeroMarine can do great on this early aggression. I know you can, and it's not like Rogue is perfect defensively, or, you know, all of the time either, so absolutely, make something happen with this. Get something done. I'm a believer. I like the decision. I like the call. Reaper comes out down to the bottom here. We do have our third hatchery is building already. So third hatch coming up. A couple extra drones on the way in. Hellions are continuing on the factory over here as well. As the starport goes down in the main base too. Stand up in the center. The couple queens wanting to move forward here, and Reaper is going to back away to the side. A couple of Hellions, Liberator, all coming out as well. Tech Lab sets up on the barracks as Reaper and a couple of Hellions going to continue through. Hellion Reaper back in the center. Stimpack starts up from HeroMarine in the main base. Gets that going as our single ling around the right side. A couple of the units getting pushed back away. Pretty passive then, right? I mean, even with the double gas, it's just that Liberator Hellion into Stimpack play. Take the third CC right now, and yeah, it's still a bit more aggressive than what we've seen, of course. At least the Liberator will have a chance to maybe deal some damage here. We'll see if the Hellions can find a way in too. It is a lack of lings right now. Only 24 lings in production right now, but queen movement's been really good. However, Liberator here gets a queen kill. And we'll back away from the Spore Crawler, so it doesn't take any real damage there. And now the Hellions are maybe going to find this mineral line. I really think you could maybe just go for it. But it is scary to give up the Hellions, because then you're exposed to some future attacks, some counters. It maybe doesn't let you take your third base as quickly. So it has negative impacts going, you know, from that point onwards. Well, drones go down. The Liberator makes its way around the other side. And I think another couple of drones that can drop here. Gets one of them. Liberator being annoying. I mean, how many times have you forced the drones to back away now? And that's the little, you know, those are the little things that add up to a lot. HeroMarine, you can see these indents he's making into Rogue's economy as he's forcing him to pull the drones around. So it's having an impact. It's working out well. And again, just a bit more control early game as he starts up 1-1, takes extra barracks, and let's see what the next plan is. The next thing we really ask ourselves here is, do we see kind of like an 8-racks, or are we going to see something just kind of, you know, fourth base, second factory focus? Hellions dive in. They're going to find a lot of lings. This is really good trades for the Hellions. Look at the resources lost. He's lost a Hellion for 4 drones, 15 lings and 2 queens so far. Now he loses another Hellion. Obviously, some of this damage done by the Liberator as well, but that's a good dive in for those Hellions. They get themselves another queen, which came chasing. This time, Rogue is making some early game mistakes. He is letting HeroMarine deal damage. So hey, I will say, I think the double gas has already been worthwhile. I feel like he's already getting value out of it. You know, this has been a nice start, and yeah, maybe not one that's going to necessarily win him the game, but definitely puts, again, a bit more pressure on Rogue, because Rogue's definitely not as comfortable as he's been previously. Definitely think that should be a real factor to look at here as Hellion set up the top side. And we've seen a few lings are going to come running down as well. See what they can get up to. Aurora is about halfway done from Rogue, as we do see our Marine Tank Army pressing forward. Bit of a Ling counterattack up the right side. Hellions are there pretty quickly to do something about it. Ling's going to get the surround. Tank is down. The tank will fall as the Hellion's going to fight against those few Zerglings. The rest of the Lings out down the bottom right-hand side as well. He's going to run back up to the top. SCVs are going to pull in, and the Hellions are actually going to end up surrounded. So the Hellions will go down. So the counter on the third is a pretty big deal. Marines at the same time make their way up over here, and they're going to kill off the fourth base. So fourth denied, I mean, that's massive. I mean, you kill 3 SCVs here, and you kill a few Hellions, great, but you just lost your fourth base as Rogue. I mean, that's really something you kind of need to keep alive in these games usually. So I like this at the moment for HeroMarine. There's a lot more Lings coming to be aggressive, though, and HeroMarine is going to tuck himself in that corner. Extra reinforcements coming in. Biggest part of this is the reinforcements, or the army across the map comes home. He's actually just massacring these Zerglings. Rogue is losing so much. A few Banes connect in. Now a few SCVs starting to go down, but honestly, 9 SCVs. How much army went down here? Resources lost, still favoring HeroMarine. Look at that army graph drop from Rogue. I feel like he lost a lot. At the same time, there's still a drop over here. Catches a queen, recancels that hatchery position. Army from HeroMarine down the side. Continues along then. And hit the bottom right-hand corner of this. The Ling's going to continue to drop. I mean, there's just no Banelings. And without any Banelings, how do you ever really fight this? Marines are going to keep Queens busy over to the side. I mean, yeah, you're just going to lose this bottom right base again. Talk about things falling apart here for Rogue. Because literally everything just fell apart in this one. Wow. You got Burrow up as well. Maybe some Burrow Bane play plans, but just doesn't get the chance to really play out into any of that. Banelings go rolling forward. Marines, and they get back. There's plenty of Marines here. That's not really a problem. I mean, a tank goes down, but the reinforcements are streaming across the map as well. And it looks like the HeroMarine is actually just going to win out a pretty self-explanatory game on Oxide. Wasn't really necessarily anything all too wild about it, and yeah, GG is called. HeroMarine is going to take game number 3 of this best of 5. So HeroMarine fights back. Hits the left side. The counterattack of Rogue doesn't do enough. Rogue trades badly because of it. Loses a base. Can't rebuild as much as he'd like to. HeroMarine wins the game. I think that's the key points to summarize it. Bottom right-hand side, our blue Terran player. It's HeroMarine. As we go into game number 4 of this, we do have to the top left-hand side the red Zerg player. Here we've got ourselves a Rogue. Still up 2-1. We'll see what he brings out on Romanticide after Oxide just went a little bit haywire, you know. Things got a little bit off track and couldn't quite pull it back so easily. That's the OV. Comes out down the bottom left-hand side. Couple of drones gonna pop up. Bank's gonna build in the main base. Drone comes in, builds the hatchery. Yeah, we're talking about macro hatcheries. I actually had a funny YouTube comment earlier today. Someone said, someone literally commented a YouTube comment, says, macro hatchery? I'll read it out word for word. Macro hatchery, question mark. It's not a macro hatch, it's an extra hatch. Please learn to speak StarCraft. Now, please correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I am 99% sure, having casted StarCraft for a good few years now, that an extra hatchery in a main base is a macro hatchery. That's literally the definition of a macro hatchery. I'm 99% sure. Maybe we changed the terminology in the last couple of days. That's my 1%. Maybe we had a debate on our StarCraft and decided just to completely go against tradition. It's a micro hatchery. You know, for a moment I was like, oh, I woke up and this was the first email I had on my phone this morning, this comment on YouTube. I was like, oh, that's funny. I thought I was just being sleepy and reading it wrong, but I went back just a little bit earlier and I was like, no, he literally wrote the stupidest thing I've ever read on my YouTube comments in the last week. So congratulations. I'm not going to name names, but congratulations. You are officially the dumbest YouTube comment of the week. Maybe of the month, even. I love it. Alright, Reaper comes in. I just wanted to share that one with you. A little bit of fun and action as we wait for stuff to happen here on Romanticide. We can talk about Romanticide a little bit. I mean, these maps, I don't even think they're new now, right? Month old. I think we all kind of know how the maps work. This one's obviously one of the larger maps in terms of width. It has a lot of bases on it. Kind of a fun setup with these kind of mineral walls as well. It reminds me a lot of Thunderbird. I couldn't remember the map name, Thunderbird, when I first wanted to describe this, but someone in the chat aided me, and it really is true. I think Thunderbird it's got the kind of some similar tendencies to Thunderbird, you know? As this Reaper just going to sit out on the ramp, and Zergling speed building up on the spawning pool. Extra drones coming in, a couple extra aliens, starports. All of this being brought into the action right now. We've seen our double gas setup again, and I like that from HeroMarine, right? I feel like that definitely went well from last time. It was some good damage, right? Yeah, it wasn't anything crazy, but it was the little things that maybe made Rogue feel like he had to put some pressure on. It felt like it put him in a good position overall. I liked it. I'm a fan. I don't mind going double gas again. It's a map as well where you absolutely could, if you wanted to, go single gas 3cc. There would be nothing wrong with that. Just having watched the way these games have played out so far, I'm much happier to see a double gas again. I mean, that's easy to say, right? Because he's won the game where he went double gas, but I just feel like it played out well. This is a Rotron a bit earlier than Rotron we saw in game number 2, so maybe Rogue thinking about some even earlier aggression. 39 drones and maybe even just 36 drones. Roach Ravager attack all in. He's building a lot of overlords. He's going to go for it. He's got the gas for 8 roaches right now. He'll probably stop at like 11-ish roaches, 10, 11. Reinforce with the lings, maybe keep some gas for Ravagers as well. Right now, HeroMarine is not really getting the information he properly needs to deal with that, right? Not really picking up on that in the slightest just yet with these Hellions around the side. These other Hellions, they are going to come into the center, and yeah, as mentioned, they're not really going to find all too much as now they see the roaches. Hottest match of the day. It's Thursday, of course. Got to test out that fire alarm. I'm just going to go off for a moment or two longer, guys. And it's okay. House is not burning down. Rotron. Sorry, not Rotron. Roach gets caught. It goes down. I'm just going to be seeing our Zerglings coming around the right-hand side. So, I mean, honestly, it's a little bit representative of what's going on in HeroMarine's head. He sees the roaches and the alarm bells are ringing because he is not prepared for this just yet. The bunkers had to start as that was seen. He's about to have a siege tank. Can HeroMarine hold on? Roach coming forward. A Ravager on the way in. Tank in the back here from HeroMarine will siege up. These roaches going to be in some trouble as Ravager gets killed off here pretty much right away. A few more corrosive files going down. That depot gets picked off as well. A whole bunch of extra files coming in. The CC gets forced back. Another Ravager from Rogue morphing in on the bottom side here. Hellions just going to pull back a little bit. These other Lings, they kind of get roasted. He gets a bunker though. I'm just worried because there's more Lings on the way, so without a wall off, you can just run in here with the Lings. Now, the Hellions doing a pretty good job so far. The SCVs will buy some time, but both the bunker and the tank go down. Now he's just going to back away and wait for another round of Lings, perhaps. I mean, the SCVs are chasing, so you'll fight those. That's no problem. But yeah, I think as extra Lings show up here, there's a wide open entry into a base that's obviously then otherwise unprotected. Fouls on that tank straight away. It's going to go down, and now you're going to put piles to push the other units away. I like this as well. Lings into the main base. The Ravagers can, you know, handle this on the low ground. He's going to start picking away at some more SCVs. He's already killed 22. Third base is not even an orbital just yet, so this is a lot of damage to take without having 3 orbitals to recover with. And yes, he's going to be able to morph one in, but the fact he's not already building up energy and getting the chance to drop mules, that's already kind of a problem, honestly. At least the Marines now have a stay. Will these extra Lings be able to do enough? For the moment, probably so. But you do have the medevac support, but he's just lifting stuff up and backing away. Now it's even more SCVs to down in the low ground and Rogue. Well, he still hasn't gone back into droning, but he's already at a 10-worker lead, so he's still looking kind of okay there anyway. As our Lings are going to come through, the siege tank is going to get saved by the medevac. I mean, now there's just too many Lings, right? I mean, it is only Lings, though, but it's also in the mineral line once again, so you're going to have to run and deal with that. You're down to 19 SCVs. And finally, Rogue is building a few more roaches, a few more drones. He's setting up to basically just close this out, and that's going to be pretty much that. HeroMarine's GG will secure the end of the game, and Rogue played an aggressive all-in, and it worked out. HeroMarine just didn't really get to see it in time, or the prep just wasn't good enough either. GG's. Rogue, 3-1, wraps up this series from the King of Battles event. Congrats to Rogue, of course. He stayed alive in the tournament and moved on through to the decider match. GG's.